on a pedestal of high values from which she refused to descend. And this was not from a place of arrogance. I think it was from a place of pedigree, of principles. So I've titled this tribute a tribute to greatness. I was about 18 years old when I got to know her. To know of her, rather. Sorry, I didn't know her. I got to know of her. In very interesting circumstances. Our neighborhood in Surulere was on lockdown on this particular day. I think it was sometime in 1981 or thereabouts. No car could move. And it was a most unusual lockdown in that neighborhood, if you knew it around the time. We strolled around. Traffic on Adeniro Musoya and Bode Thomas Road had ground to a complete halt. And the backflow from Razak Balogun Crescent, Abiola Street, and all the streets in the neighborhood made it unnavigable. So something serious was certainly happening in that neighborhood. Something unusual was happening. There was no mobile phone as we know it now. There was no breaking news online on multiple channels. So, there was only NTA, and that was going to be in the evening. But somehow, because it was most unusual, news started to filter. And later in the evening, as traffic eased, we heard that one Fashola MK Abiola had come to tie marital knots with a beautiful damsel in our neighborhood named Doyin Abiola. And that was when I first got to know of her. So who was this woman who kept us on lockdown? I'd never seen her, but I heard that she was a journalist. So in the evening when my dad came home, I went to ask him that, because he was a Daily Times man with Uncle Sam and all of them. And he said, oh yes, she was very beautiful. Apart from others, she was very brilliant. But at this time, I was yet to meet her. So that was all I remembered and knew of her until I became Chief of Staff to Governor Tinubu. And then, of course, from her infrequent visits to our office, I got to meet her. But I did not get to know enough of her until I became governor. And then it was like mother and child. She was determined to make sure that I did not let myself down. So she became like a mother, and she would call me, Tunde Mumbo Wario, so Mimbola no pe Mumbo. And the ideas that came forth from that her great mind were just indescribable. She was a Sunday type visitor, sometimes on Saturdays. But that was how our relationship developed. And I just marveled at how she could conceptualize policy on local, national, regional, international politics and development. There was nothing above her mind. And of course, that mind had me entrapped. So, and I say that it is only when you engage her mind and you share her thoughts, or she emails an idea to you, that you will understand that you were simply experiencing greatness in human form. In February 2014, even though she was not a member of our party, the APC, she had her thoughts on everything that we were doing. So she didn't discuss it with me. This one she refused to discuss. But she sent me an email and she titled it, APC's Reason for Being, end of quote. That was the title. But let me share in part what she said. And this speaks very, very eloquently to our commitment to democracy. And she said, in quote, in a democracy, it is necessary that we, the people, speak out, ask questions, and demand proof. Nobody gets a free ride in a democracy. It is also our duty to assail combative elder statesmen for the misuse of our national discourse space for settling personal scores. And she says of them, our, quote, lions in winter, end of quote, must allow this republic to survive. It is the right thing to do, end of quote. You make of that what you will, but that was Auntie Doyin. I will not share anymore, except to say that those words demonstrate her passion for country, for democracy, and her people. The tributes that have spewed forth from all corners of the world testify again to her greatness, and the ink will not dry in a hurry, especially now with the commitment we have had from Mike Awoyinfa. The ink will not dry. She will be sorely missed by all, especially by the Abiola and Abuaba families, to whom I extend sincere and very deep condolences. But I urge them and Doyin, Mrs. Tobun, to take heart and rest assured that Auntie Doyin lives on, because greatness does not die, greatness does not perish, it only transforms as she has done. The pleasant memories of her remarkable life lives very indelibly in millions of hearts, never to be forgotten. May her kind and gentle soul continue to rest in peace.